Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Let me tell you something, man. This Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano trilogy. It happens tomorrow. And I'm going to tell you, I'm rooting for Amanda Serrano. Will she win? I don't know. But I'm rooting for her. I just really think in that second fight, I think she was done wrong. And it's a shame that she had to endure the loss in addition to all the fouls and the foul play by Katie Taylor. So I'm rooting for her to win this third fight, which hopefully will result in a fourth fight where she'll clip Katie Taylor in that fight as well, and then maybe go on to a fifth fight. And then they can argue on who's the better fighter. But one thing to understand, as far as what we're going to see tomorrow, I think we're going to see a lot of clinching, okay? And I think that's going to be a major part of their trilogy. And I think clinching is going to be something that's talked about post-fight and probably talked about for the months to follow. You see, in both previous fights, and people had to really be, fair when they're making an analysis on what happened in those those prior fights. Katie Taylor, you got to credit her team and credit her for their experience and them studying Serrano and knowing what would be the most effective strategy to prevail against an Amanda Serrano. They use clinching to disrupt Serrano's rhythm. Now, if you watch Amanda Serrano fight, she's a rhythm fighter. And once she gets going in her rhythm, it's hard to stop her. She's nonstop punches. She's heavy-handed. She can crack. And once she gets in that rhythm going, and she gets that momentum going, the power shots start flowing. And you saw when she was fighting Katie Taylor was getting hurt. But Katie Taylor was able to use those clinches, and we even saw in the rematch multiple clinch-heavy exchanges. And the one thing that I really picked up is that I think Katie Taylor surprised Serrano although there were some heavy clinches, Katie Taylor was firing. She was exchanging out of the clinches, catching Serrano. But Serrano also landed heavy shots out of the clinches as well. But I don't think Serrano was prepared for Katie Taylor doing that. The thing is, even in the clinches and coming out of the clinches, Katie Taylor was headbutting the shit out of Amanda Serrano. She even had a point deducted for those headbutts, she was leading in before the clinch, and when she would get into the clinch, she was still headbutting. I personally think they should have disqualified Katie Taylor. That's just my opinion. But everybody's gonna see it how they want. But I even said when I did a post video, I said she fought like a pig. But the thing is, right, clinching may be even more prominent now going into this trilogy. You see, Serrano's pressure style is going to force Katie Taylor to do some things she doesn't want to do. So you're going to see that Katie Taylor could find herself becoming overwhelmed. And I think what's going to happen, man, is she's going to start grabbing and holding. You got to understand, these are 2-minute rounds. And for Katie Taylor, she did not want a 3-minute round because in a 3-minute round, I think the whole world knows Katie Taylor will get knocked out. She doesn't have the conditioning to fight a 10 3-minute rounds. She just doesn't have the conditioning. But what you saw was her coming in here, man, where time is limited in a 2-minute round, using those clinches to slow down Serrano and allow her to get some shots off, but then get to the finish line without taking heavy artillery. I do think Katie Taylor's age and experience may lead her to lean on clinching a lot more. These women have been through some wars. Same way we say Tyson Fury had a pound of flesh taken out of him by Wilder, had a pound of flesh taken out of him by Usyk. We can say Usyk had a pound of flesh taken out of him by AJ. Usyk had a pound of flesh taken out of him by Fury. I think it's only fair to say when you look at Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, they're not getting any younger. But a pound of flesh, they probably took a pound of flesh out of each other. And as a result, to conserve energy and to try to control the tempo, I think more so for Katie Taylor, she's going to lean on clinching to survive. And something else that I think is going to have to happen here for Amanda Serrano, she's really got to be aware of, what's going on inside that ring. Because the cuts, with that scar tissue she has, I can see it reopening. It won't take much to exacerbate those, previously injured areas. And if she gets cut, she's mentally strong. She's had a great mental prep for this fight. But you can't help but think it's going to affect her somehow, and it's not going to be positive if she gets cuts again in the fight. But maybe the clinching for Serrano will be a good thing to help to kind of get control of Katie Taylor. Serrano, of course, had to put her head on the outside of Katie Taylor's. And maybe that will help protect Serrano against gashes and being cut. But there's some strategic implications that I think we need to think about. You look at the fighter like Taylor, the benefits of clinching. It disrupts Serrano's flow, and that's extremely important for Katie Taylor. If she doesn't figure out a way to stop that flow, she's going to get washed away. And when I say washed away, I mean she's going to get knocked out by Serrano. In addition to that, the clinching for Katie Taylor is going to help to reset the pace. And that's extremely important in there with Serrano. She's going to have to, it's like driving a stick shift. Any of y'all know how to drive a stick shift? You shift up to second gear, third gear, fourth gear. That's what Serrano wants to do. She wants to shift up into fifth gear, and she wants to get going. Katie Taylor's going to have to force her to kind of stall out and reset and start all off from first gear again, so she doesn't get that momentum going. And if Katie Taylor can do that, she may have some serious success in this fight. She may go on to get a win the trilogy. Now for Amanda Serrano, the clinching benefit for her, it helps to possibly protect against headbutts and cuts. But also, when she clinches, I really think this time, as soon as she gets into that clinch, she's going to react. What I mean by react, she's going to land clean, compact shots inside the clinch. And I don't think Katie Taylor is going to be able to react quick enough. But if Serrano gets in the clinch and she waits for Katie Taylor to react, well, it could be Serrano getting hit. But I think for Serrano, she's prepared. When the clinch happens, don't even give Katie Taylor a chance to headbutt her. Just fire. Let your hands go. So we should expect clinching. I'm trying to see if Katie Taylor is really going to try to move around the ring and box. I think Katie Taylor's going to look at the first fight to see what worked for her, the second fight to see what really worked, because she really lost that second fight. But she's going to look at what didn't work so good for her. And with trying to box like Serrano, you give Serrano an opportunity to land some, because Serrano's a great boxer. I can see Katie Taylor possibly misstepping in this fight. But yeah, clinching is definitely, something to expect. But also expect it to be very tactical, very gritty. And again, just depending on how the fight goes, if it goes a distance, expect some controversy. Look, if Amanda Serrano wins, they're going to say they just gave her the win because she lost the first two. If Katie Taylor wins, they're going to say, hey, they just didn't want Serrano to ever win, and it's the Secret Society, Eddie Hearn, Matchroom, et cetera, et cetera. There's going to be arguments for both sides, whether they win or they lose, to say that they were done wrong. But what I will say is, I personally don't think the judges are going to be needed for this one. I think somebody will get a knockout, and I think it's going to be Serrano. You could just see in Serrano's eyes, man, that she's like, yeah, all right, I'm going to show you this time. I'm going to make sure it doesn't go to the scorecards. I'm going to take it out of the judges' hands. When I watch Katie Taylor, I don't know. I don't want to say nothing negative, man. something about Katie Taylor I just don't like. It's almost when I'm listening to her talk, she doesn't sound convinced that she really won that second fight. You know what I'm saying? She just does not sound convinced that she won that second fight. When she's like, "Oh, well, the facts are the facts. I won the fight." No, you're right, but she just doesn't sound like in her heart she believes she won. And I just think, as far as the mental prep, I wonder how she was able to prepare herself about to get in the ring with Serrano for this trilogy, knowing that in the second fight, that really she lost. And the reason why she did get a bit of reprieve is because she was headbutting and fouling and being a pig just so she could make it to the finish line. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the reality of it. I can't carve this out any other way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's really what happened in that second fight. But I wonder, I'll be curious about the judges and curious about the referee. It's in New York this time. So I heard some fans, the Katie Taylor fans, have a bit of concern about some hometown cooking for Amanda Serrano. I don't know. But it's on Netflix. And if the Jake Pauls, the Eddie Hearns, they want to continue doing business with Netflix, they can't afford for there to be any foul play, the wrong fighter getting the win. They kind of allowed it to happen because Netflix is bringing these fights into 300 million people's homes. That's recurring revenue. They can't afford to allow some shady bullshit to a Netflix. They're like, nah, we don't want to do business with y'all anymore. They can't allow that. But the bottom line, Clinch, chaos, you better expect it. And it may be ugly. And some of us at home may be sitting there watching the fight saying, what the hell are they doing? It could turn into a damn MMA match. Wrestling and craziness, and somebody get judo tossed and hip tossed and body slammed or thrown out the ropes. It could get ugly inside that ring. It's only 2-minute rounds. Katie Taylor gonna try to slow that pace down, so expect the clinching from round 1 from Katie Taylor. Her whole thing is to disrupt the momentum. Amanda Serrano is gonna keep building pressure with volume and aggression, and trust me, she's gonna come in there firing. Taylor has to interrupt that rhythm, and she can't allow Serrano to start walking her down. So you watch, if Katie Taylor gets hit and buzz and Serrano starts to step to her, watch what Katie Taylor does. And this is where it's going to get ugly, because if Katie Taylor can somehow absorb a minute of the round with clinches, that's half the round. It's not like it's a 3-minute round. That's half the round gone. So she basically went half the round without taking any damage. So it's a very smart tactic on her part. But this is where, Serrano's going to have to let her hands go. Because it really boils down to Katie Taylor trying to protect against damage. You know what I'm saying? That's what it boils down to, man. Taylor clinched to avoid all of Amanda Serrano's power shots. That's what she was doing. So I can't help but think that she and her team, even they realized that was probably the most effective thing that she did in those fights, were tying up the hands of Serrano, clinching Serrano, and even fouling her and being a bit dirty. So you get some fighters that's going to do whatever they can. And even I used to say, if the referee lets you kick and bite somebody, poke their eyeball out, you should do it. But I don't quite feel that way anymore. I do think you should make the referee earn his or her paycheck. But just watching how she really kind of grotesquely disfigured Amanda Serrano's face in that second fight from fouls, I changed my opinion on if fighters can get away with it, they should. I really changed my opinion, because that was horrible. That shit was horrible. But anyway, I expect Katie Taylor to try to steal time when needed. But the bottom line, clinching, it could affect the outcome of the fight, and I think it will. It's going to disrupt the flow. It's going to protect cuts if used effectively by Serrano. It's going to possibly affect the judge's perception of how the fight's going, and it could result in opportunities to score on the inside. So I think it really boils down to who's the more effective clincher, who knows how to use clinching to get the upper hand, and who also knows how to use clinching to protect themselves from being injured from headbutts, and also to slow the pace down and kill time to help them recover so that they can finish off the round strong, or get to the next round, or get to the end of the round so they have some time to recover. The advantages for Katie Taylor: it breaks Serrano's rhythm. It can help her avoid clashes with Serrano, and it can look tactical for Katie Taylor. On the downside, it could make her look evasive, and I think she's going to have to use clinches for both. But I just think when she's doing that, you're going to give Serrano opportunities to land those compact shots like I mentioned earlier. But let's see how it plays out. I'm very interested in seeing how this fight. I may go live. I'm not sure, but we'll see. We'll see if Serrano can get in there and use those clinches to prevent any damage from escalating. If in fact she finds herself getting headbutted and elbowed and get her damn foot stepped on and everything else by Katie Taylor, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. This shit's gonna be clinch chaos. I think we're going to get fireworks. But once the punches start flowing, if someone gets touched, I expect these women to clinch. And I think people are going to be frustrated because you got, 2-minute rounds, 10 rounds, 20 minutes of fighting. You may only get really 10 because of all the clinching and shit that's going to take place. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.